It is the end of an era in Indian cricket. India's most successful captain, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, has stepped down. He leaves behind a legacy. That will be difficult to eclipse. Today on the special edition of WION Sports, we pay tribute to an amazing legacy.
Hello and welcome to WION Sports. The cricket fan in us is disappointed, but then the show has to go on. Joining me to discuss the legacy of MS Dhoni is former Mumbai captain Shishir Hattangadi. He joins us from Ahmedabad. And joining me in the studio is senior cricket writer G Rajaraman, who has tracked Dhoni all through his career. But first, let's get to that story now, which has plunged Indian cricket into mourning. India's most charismatic and successful cricket captain has stepped down from T20 and one-day internationals. In a nutshell, MS Dhoni's captaincy era is over. This is our tribute to a legacy that will take some beating. Unpredictability was always his strongest suit, be it on the cricket field or off it. And in typical Mahendra Singh Dhoni style, he signed off from his reign as India's most successful one-day and T20 captain without any advance notice. Just a day before he was to sit down with the selectors to pick the team for the forthcoming series against England.
एक चीज़ देख के अच्छा लग रहा है कि उन्होंने अपने आप को आगे नहीं रखा, टीम को आगे रखा है और उस हिसाब से वो निर्णय लिया है उन्होंने कि शायद ये सही वक्त है, एक सीरीज शुरू होने वाला है और ये बहुत अहमियत है इस सीरीज की क्योंकि आगे चल के चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी है जहां पे डिफेंडिंग चैंपियन है भारत.
Leading the tributes was none other than India's greatest ever cricketer, Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar. In a statement he said, and I quote, "Congratulations to MSD on a wonderful career as a captain, leading India to success in both T20 and ODI World Cups. I have seen him emerge from an aggressive player to a steady and decisive captain. It's a day to celebrate his successful captaincy and respect his decision." Unquote. Dhoni leaves a rich legacy that may be difficult to get close to. He was a proven match winner who could instantly change a game with the bat. It was under his captaincy that India regained its supremacy in world cricket. India won the ICC World T20 under Dhoni in 2007. India became #1 in Tests under Dhoni in 2009. India won the World Cup under Dhoni in 2011. India also won the ICC Champions Trophy under Dhoni in 2013. Those are achievements that any cricketer will be proud of. Add to those some staggering numbers. Dhoni led India in 199 ODIs, scoring 6,633 runs at an average of just under 54. That also included a match-winning knock in the World Cup final against Sri Lanka in Mumbai. Dhoni led India in 72 T20 internationals, winning 42 of those along with 1,112 runs to his name. Dhoni leaves behind a team that is in safe hands. Virat Kohli has emerged a more than capable leader in Test cricket. Dhoni has indicated he will continue to play both formats. But clearly, the man with the Midas touch has indicated the end is near. In New Delhi, Digvijay Singh Deo, WION. Shishir Hattangadi, we heard in that package on how the only thing predictable about MS Dhoni was his unpredictability. Now, we've seen this in the history of Indian cricket, that captains either go with much fanfare or they get kicked out. Didn't happen in this case.
Not in Dhoni's case, certainly. I mean, he's always been a different kind of character. He surprised you on the field with sometimes out-of-the-box decisions. It takes me back to 2007 where he backed Joginder Sharma to bowl the last over. Captains who are intuitive generally do things that they don't go by the book. And his decision is again not by the book. One would have thought he would have played on or captained India for at least one more series against England and then taken a call. But I think what comes out of this decision is that he has clearly decided that Indian team, and the Indian team comes before him. And he's probably faced these challenges as a captain where he had to transform a team to play for the captain, to play for the India cap. And that is something he probably would have felt more as a leader. Today we talk of him as a former leader. But I think him surprising us is not a surprise at all, because he's done that all his career. And instead of feeling upset about it, I think we need to celebrate a great career.
Yes, we are here to celebrate, in fact, that great career. G Rajaraman, I was once struck by what Sourav Ganguly said. He said, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a gambler. And that, in a sense, those three or four words, that was what Mahendra Singh Dhoni was all about.
Dangerous word to use typically,
yes.
Especially given what cricket's been through and where Sourav Ganguly comes from. But yes, he does take risks. He loves challenges, especially in the limited over format. I think India is going to miss his brightness on the field. Someone who is able to soak in the pressure. I think that was remarkable. Not that Virat Kohli is different. I think Indian cricket is in very capable hands. And Dhoni knows that better than anyone else. Diggy, I believe that his ability to soak in the pressure was remarkable. And I think that is something we're going to miss. Everyone likes to call him Captain Cool. But he has once told me that he faces pressure and that he's able to delegate the pressure without his players knowing it. I think that is terrific from a leadership perspective. You don't get too many like that.
Shishir, just before I ask you a follow-up question on what Raj just said, I remember an incident in Sydney at the World Cup semi-final in Sydney. Raj and I were both there, and he was asked after India lost in the semi-finals, and he was asked, when are you retiring? Would you think of retiring? And he said, you go and write what you want. I'll do exactly the opposite. That was MS Dhoni. But you're a big fan of cricket history, Shishir. And Mike Brearley said captaincy is an art, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni in that sense was an artist.
He created his own art, like all good artists. He didn't go by the book. He backed players on gut feel, which is very important. When Sourav Ganguly uses the word, the much abused word gambler, I think what he may have tried to express is the fact that, sometimes captains have to go by gut feel. And if you look at Indian cricket history, a lot of captains, many captains in the past have gone by gut feel. So if they've not been successful, these players, then it's termed as favoritism or zonal bias. But sometimes there is a feeling to go out of the box, think out of the box, and Dhoni has done that. To me, he's not only Captain Cool, as people might call him, he was Captain Tight. He used to control a game, and more often than not, that's what impressed me about Mahendra Singh Dhoni as a leader. Somewhere you felt when you were watching him lead, whether it was for his franchise or for the country, you felt he was controlling the game in such a way that you had a belief that he knew what was happening and he knew where the game was heading, which is a great quality to have as somebody watching a captain.
And one thing Mahendra Singh Dhoni always said, Raj, we kept asking him, that his hair kept getting grey. But he had this remarkable ability to soak up the pressure. As Shishir was also saying, going into tight chases, he would not farm the strike. He knew within that he could win the game for India.
I think his basic trust in his teammates was incredible. I remember one match where in the final over, he allowed Ashish Nehra to have strike after the first delivery. It shows the kind of faith he's got in his teammates. Now, you win this game, great. If you don't win this game, too bad. I think another remarkable aspect.
But can I just interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
And he also had the ability to withstand criticism. Picking Joginder Sharma to bowl that last over in the World Cup final, where conventional logic dictated you go to Harbhajan Singh. Dropping Ashwin and getting Srishant in that World Cup final. These were decisions which, if a captain got wrong, he would have faced a lot of flack, especially in the kind of media environment we have. He
did, not only for his choices of selection sometimes, but also for the fact that he would not bat higher than number 6 many times. He's probably the best finisher we've ever had, the best all-round cricketer we've had, and I'm sticking my neck out in the one-day international format. He's probably ahead of Kapil Dev, given that he brought leadership to the table, kept wickets very well, and then scored runs at a very critical juncture. he would never step up. It was easy for him to bat at number 3 if he wanted to, which is where he got his 183, his first 100. I think he was selfless, and I think that is remarkable. The other thing about him is that when he backed his players, he would back them no end. It was not as if they were given 2 games or 3 games. He trusted them, and not only about his ability to take criticism, also his ability to deal with victories. Both were the same for him, because he knew that he would have to get back on the field one more time and start from scratch. So for him it was just a day in office, and I think that was a remarkable quality to have.
Yes, remarkable quality which MS Dhoni had. We joined now by someone very, very special. Anirudh Chaudhary is a cricket administrator, also BCCI treasurer as well. Anirudh, you've seen the MS Dhoni era. You've actually been part of the Indian team as manager and toured with MS Dhoni. I remember a very interesting photo you once showed me of you holding the World Cup trophy in the Wankhede Stadium after India won that. For you, seeing it from the outside, seeing him in charge of the team, what was it like being around MS Dhoni?
See, Diggy, first of all, MS is one of the greatest players who have played for the country. He's been your, I would say, the greatest captain, because he's got you more ICC trophies than anybody. And the best part about MS, I'd say, is obviously, as everybody knows, is the calm that he used to exude, the confidence that he used to exude. And the trust, if he would give the juniors, the younger players, the space they require to perform best in. And one of the most striking things which I found about him was his ability to compartmentalize things, and I guess that's what made him the cool customer that he is. And
yes.
Now if you see, you know, he has overseen the transition phase of the Indian cricket team, where your greatest players were retiring one after the other, and after that having sort of built the nucleus of the new young team, which seems a very, very formidable team. So I think all that credit goes to MS Dhoni.
It's interesting you talk about the transition, because MS Dhoni also had this rare ability to give sound bites which would remain for posterity. He was once asked about the choice of music in the room, in the dressing room, and he said earlier it was all Kishore Kumar, but now it's on Sean Paul. That showed the generational shift. And in a sense, you talk about this shift as well. It was a happy dressing room under Dhoni.
Yes, it was always a happy dressing room under Dhoni. I mean, the ones that I have seen myself, being very happy. And, he, despite having really great performers and players in the side, you knew that there was a special energy around him. And I think, like you mentioned, his words, his statements would be statements that would stick. And him and Viru were possibly the two people, I've always looked forward to, hearing what they have to say. And I think, you see the responses the players have given, including Sachin and everybody, and you realize what he meant for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I've seen times when the members of the Fourth Estate were sort of just going after him, and for whatever reasons at any point of time, and the calm with which he handled everything, I think he laid a lot of emphasis in insulating the team from the pressures that the team was under at all given points of time from every quarter.
Yes, it was very rare to see MS Dhoni sledging a fellow team member. Thank you, Anirudh Chaudhary, for those extremely rare insights. I just remember an interesting anecdote, Shishir Hattangadi. Once during a game, after a game in fact, he was asked to analyze the technique of a player, and he said, if you're going to ask me to analyze the technique of a player, you're asking the wrong person. That was Dhoni, unconventional, the way he played his cricket, the way he batted, and that was the complete package. You didn't know what you were going to get from MS Dhoni.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great story. A small town boy coming into Indian cricket, being selected when there was a kind of a wicket-keeping famine in India. There were tried and tested players who didn't work out. Thrust into the big arena, making an impact from being watched by talent scouts, and then emerging as the biggest name in Indian cricket. I mean, you can't get a better script than that. And for somebody who sort of came from a small town, he would be about. I mean, if I can look back to his career, it's all about delivery. It's not about the process or being technically correct or going by the book. It was all about how can I get those runs for my team. And sometimes some players are able to deliver when they think the least about their batting. They're smart players, but they don't think technique. They know you tell them ask them how to bat, they won't tell you that. But ask them how to score runs, they'll find a way.
Yes.
And this is all about cricketing smartness.
Okay, he may not have the best shots in the book, the technically correct shots in the book with Shishir Hattangadi, who is eminent Bombay school of batting, as they say, but he did rewrite the record books, didn't he? Won all those trophies for India, the ICC Champions Trophy, the World T20, and even the big one, the ICC World Cup. Now, former Indian captain Sunil Gavaskar has paid rich tribute to MS Dhoni's reign as captain. Gavaskar, in fact, says he was ready to stage a protest had Dhoni retired altogether. He feels there is still much to come from India's most successful captain. Gavaskar said in an interview, and I quote, "Let's just enjoy Dhoni as he plays out his final few years in India colours. Cricketers like Dhoni come once in a century. He brought a lot of flair and unpredictability in Indian cricket. The team became positive and attacking under Dhoni. It will be his biggest legacy." Well, that's big praise coming in from Sunny Gavaskar. A bit more when we return after this break, including talk of the captain in waiting, Virat Kohli. Welcome back. Now, India's chairman of selectors, M.S.K. Prasad, has all but indicated that Virat Kohli will take over from M.S. Dhoni. Speaking to PTI, he said, and I quote, "Dhoni's presence will help Kohli as he now captains across 3 formats. Had he quit, Virat would have missed out on his immense experience. I salute him for his sense of perfect timing. So it is the correct decision by Dhoni. It showed he had the best interests of Indian cricket in his mind." Raj, he says Dhoni had the best interests of Indian cricket in his mind. Now, all leaders, all successful leaders want to have a legacy. We have to remember the tricky circumstances in which Dhoni took over. The Greg Chappell era was just over. Rahul Dravid had suddenly quit. And here was MS Dhoni from nowhere thrust into the T20 role. And nobody expected him to go and win it. And that was the beginning of the legacy. We're seeing a completely different thing now. In a sense, when Anil Kumble was made Test captain to ensure that Dhoni was groomed, we saw a similar grooming process for Virat Kohli. In that sense, Dhoni has done his job.
I think he has. Very important that he had a happy dressing room and he was very comfortable. He was not looking over his shoulder all the time, looking at what Virat is doing. I think they're greatest of buddies. They might not hug each other in public, but they're not going at each other's throat. They're wonderful friends, and I think it is good for Indian cricket that the transition has happened quite smoothly, and that no prizes for guessing. It doesn't need MSK Prasad. Everyone knows it's going to be Virat Kohli. But I think
he just
Dhoni,
made it official.
Yeah, he did. Probably tomorrow afternoon he will make it even more official. I think Dhoni's greatest legacy is that people from small towns will believe that they can play Test cricket, that they can lead cricketers of the stature of Sachin Tendulkar, VVS Lakshman, Rahul Dravid and Sourav Ganguly and the like, Zahir Khan and Harbhajan Singh, Virender Sehwag, you name it. He's led them. He's not allowed their superior presence in the team to overshadow him, his leadership skills. I think it is one of the most wonderful legacies that he's going to leave, that everyone can believe that he can emerge a leader, and I think that is terrific.
Yes, he was in fact sparked that trend of small town India aspiring to play for the Indian cricket team.
Definitely, Diggy, but there have been cricketers from small town before, but none like Dhoni. I think his belief in himself was incredible. He did not change his game. I don't, except toward the end of his his one-day career as captain. I think he started playing the nip and tuck game. He's not getting those big shots. But I think other than that, he's consistently played similar brand of cricket from 2004 when he came in until now. It's remarkable for somebody to be playing like that. There's probably one other cricketer who's done that, Virender Sehwag.
Yes.
Nobody else has been able to match that.
Yes, no one has been able to pull off that helicopter shot, we can assure you that. Final word to you, Shishir Hattangadi. Excited for Virat Kohli era to begin now in Indian cricket?
A good time for him to take over, especially because his form is in his pomp. That is so important, because when you're in good nick and you're playing your best cricket, getting additional responsibilities always isn't that difficult to handle, because your form is never in question. But I'd like to just end by saying that the famous words of Neville Cardus: in the after years, it is not the score sheets or the performances that matter, it is the men that live on in your minds, in your imaginations. I think Cardus put it very aptly, and I think it fits in well with the resignation or a celebrated career of Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
I couldn't have said it better. That's why we get you on the show, Shishir. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective. Thank you so much, Raj, for joining us as well. Well, let's see how long MS Dhoni continues to play for India, but we can assure you, as long as he plays, there's always going to be entertainment. That's it on the show. Thanks for watching.